is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, OsakaJack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Into the Spotlight. This is your host, OsakaJack. And with me today is someone you may recognize from Twitter or DeviantArt, Mr. OtakuSquirrel. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent. How are things in your corner of the world?
Well, the weather's warm, which for October is getting old,
Mm,
and past that it's just nice and mellow.
great. Excellent. Yeah, we've got a spring song, winter wrap up. We need to get a winter song now.
Yes.
Even though I love my cutoffs, this heat is getting old. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
Well, if anybody doesn't know Otaku Squirrel, you have a strong presence on Twitter and on DeviantArt. Can you tell them just a little bit about what's your forte on DeviantArt?
Well, about a year ago, I started doing sculpting for manes and tails for the brushable My Little Pony toys, and so I started in, and the big difference between what I've done and what others have done is I'm actually making silicone molds,
Okay.
and I'm doing multiple resin castings for my sculpts. So
Okay.
instead of just doing a quick sculpty sculpt and trying to make it look nice,
Hmm.
I spend weeks or sometimes over a month on one
Wow.
sculpt.
Oh my gosh.
And then I take some liquid silicone rubber, I
Hmm.
make a mold, cut it open, and from that mold I can do 30 to 40 resin castings
Okay. Okay.
for that piece. So
Right. Right.
it's a low scale production, kind
Hmm.
of in my kitchen lab science set, and it's just it's gone crazy. So
Right. Right. Well, on your page it says that you sell custom kits.
mhm.
So do you sell the finished product as well, or just kit?
I started offering finished ponies at the beginning of this year.
Hmm.
Um, and this is all kind of a little bit awkward because
Oh, I'm sorry.
every single time I open up orders, I
Hmm.
have to shut them down within a day.
Wow.
And after about 3 rounds of this,
Uh-huh.
um, it really got to the point where, I'd open up orders and I'd be swamped for 2 months
Right.
or swamped for 3 months, and then the molds would start breaking down.
Hmm.
And I did the last run was for Everfree Northwest, and
Okay.
I was going to be opening up orders here again, but
Hmm.
I'm just so burnt out on it that I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah.
I need a break, people.
Sure, sure.
So,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
so
don't push yourself until you don't want to do it. That
yeah,
kills the point. That kills the
and
point.
and and so the idea is I'm trying to reconfigure, trying to figure out where do I take this
Hmm.
next to make it more sustainable?
Right.
Um, and so that's where I'm kind of getting at. But
Hmm.
that's all. I'm still trying to work out how I'm going to be working on that. So
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Huh. All right. So so orders have stopped for now then?
yeah. Orders have been shut down,
Okay.
and they have been for a while.
Mm.
And I know a lot of people are waiting patiently for me to reopen. I will reopen. They will be there again.
Hmm.
Hasbro's just announced that they're going to have another company do vinyl collectibles, and
Oh, interesting.
sitting,
Okay.
I'm sitting here thinking, goodness, this is going to take some pressure off. What I'm doing, I can get the nice show accurate look is because I'm using soft molds. It's a
Right, right.
silicone rubber. I can almost turn it inside out, and as
Oh,
long as
wow.
I'm not too rough with it,
Hmm.
I'm not going to tear it.
Okay.
Um, they
But the
wear
trade-off for
out.
that is you can only produce what you said, 40 or 50 before it wears out.
If I'm really rough on them,
Hmm.
probably only 30 or so.
Okay.
If standard 40, if I'm really lucky and I get everything just right, I can
Hmm.
maybe get 50 of them out of them.
Okay, okay.
Um, yeah. So with the mass-produced one, you're looking at thousands upon thousands probably.
Wow.
Uh, for what I'm doing, every single time I wear out a set of molds, it's back to uh, quite a number of hours being put in to repair the original sculpt,
Hmm.
and and setting everything up and getting everything set up, and then still just kind of hoping that I don't screw it up because I'm doing this in my kitchen
Right.
all by hand.
Wow.
But with those soft molds, I can do all the major undercuts. I can get all the details in there that I want.
Right.
And only big issues I'm going to have is I just have to make sure that I can get all the air to go out so
Right. Right.
there's no air bubbles.
Right. Unless you're doing derpy and you want the bubble cutie mark to be accurate.
Well, I don't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We'll make a bubble head out of her. Lots of air bubbles.
Or if you want, I guess. All right. I know this is not how it works, but just the bubble thing's funny. If you ever made a chrysalis mold, leave the air bubbles in. That's just part of her charm. The holes in the legs, right there.
Well, how about this? I'll drop a small exclusive on you here. Um, Speaking of chrysalis,
Mm-hmm.
um, one of the things, which is why I'm burnt out with the manes and tails, is
Uh-huh.
because I've done, I want to say, almost a dozen different sets of manes and tails.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
um, my favorite ones to do are the more challenging pieces.
Okay.
Um, but for chrysalis,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say some of that stuff, I've been avoiding full characters
Right.
because there might be intellectual property issues and
Sure,
stuff like
sure.
that, more so than what that I'd see from just doing manes and tails.
Right, right.
Um, but I've kind of taken it upon myself to see if I can do a full chrysalis.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. And this will be, the whole piece will be mine. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to use a pony.
Right.
I don't know what the deal will be with, will I be able to sell this? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking worst case scenario,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be able to do finished pieces as a sort of custom.
Right.
Um, Depending on how things work, uh, maybe I'll be able to do a small resin kit.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
make make it something like a model kit.
Mm-hmm.
Body, head, different legs that you can glue onto there, and then paint
Interesting.
up, and then attach the mane and tail like usual, and wings like usual.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
this is one of those projects which, as soon as I saw Chrysalis, I was just like, I have to do one of these. And then when I see everyone else on DeviantArt doing these, and I'm sitting there and I'm still cranking out the same pieces that I was doing a year ago, and basically, filling orders for them, I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I so much want to be doing more creative new things.
Sure, sure.
And Chrysalis and possibly a Discord.
Oh.
Um, all of those are options which I'd like to give a shot at.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But they're, not just going to be, more challenging to make, but they're going to be more challenging to be able to make the castings for.
Right.
They're going to take a larger investment to be able to make the kits for. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
it's like, and
So it's a bigger
yeah,
challenge and it'll expand you artistically, but it's also got a bigger risk to it.
it's got a bigger risk to it. It's got more of an investment into it, and it's bare minimum line is something that I want to do for myself,
Right.
and that's how I've always gauged at where I'm taking this project.
Well, sure,
It's
that's
like,
that's definitely the important thing. If you're not doing it for you, then there's no point.
yeah, and I sculpt the characters that I want to sculpt.
Exactly, yeah.
So if someone's begging me for this character and it's something that I want to do, I'm going to be like, it's on the list.
Hmm, hmm.
But it all depends on when I get there. And there's
Yeah.
several people out there that have been strong supporters, and I feel that I owe them some of their stuff, and you know it builds up a weight on me,
Oh,
and
sure, sure.
for those supporters, I really do want to get back to them and what they wanted to see, but
Hmm, hmm.
I've got to follow where my heart's taking me with this project, because
Absolutely, yeah.
otherwise it just becomes work.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I mean, for a comparison, the My Little Pony toys have been selling for 20 some odd years now, but
I
Lauren
believe,
decided to go for a new look because
yeah,
that's how she saw it. And it
yeah.
worked really damn well.
Oh, very much so, very much so.
Yeah, so same idea for you. You've got to follow your own artistic lead on this. Otherwise, if you lose interest, then you'll stop doing it completely and
Yeah.
there's no point.
And just to throw things so people don't get too excited about what to expect, uh, you know, I'm about show accuracy and
Hmm.
making stuff that's going to fit in with existing toys.
Okay.
So there's some artists out there that do great sculptures,
Hmm.
and they're these 3D dynamic poses.
Right.
Uh, they look gorgeous,
Hmm.
and so when I do this, is my intent is for it to look like something that can stand next to the Celestia toy
Right.
or
Okay.
next to the ponies.
Right.
The intent is for it to look like it fits in.
Oh, okay.
So that's
So
my
if
thing.
somebody requests, I want my OC, but I want it to be 4 times larger than anybody else, and
I only do OCs if they're for friends
yeah.
and they're special gifts. So,
Well, if we could talk about that real fast, I know two that you've done for Everfree Northwest. Was that right? Two of them?
hmm
Yeah. And which ones were they?
well, there were technically three,
Oh,
and
three. I'm sorry.
yeah, one of them I'd done before. I've done a wildfire before.
Right.
Um,
Sibsy's Wildfire.
yeah, she got her wildfire. That was very early.
Hmm.
Um, Kat Whitney had a
Ah, yes.
request for a wildfire also.
Ah, okay.
Um, but I did do OCs for Raven.
Oh,
So
yes. Snowdrop, right?
Snowdrop, correct.
Hmm.
So she got her Snowdrop, which I was finishing up in the hotel room before she got. Um, and then for Kat Whitney, Sleepy Skies,
Sleepy
and
Skies. That's right. Yeah.
unfortunately, they're still Wildfire and Sleepy are still waiting to be finished, and
Oh.
she'll probably get. I've been so burnt out. My original intent was at Everfree Northwest was I'd paint the cutie mark for Wildfire when I'm
Mhm.
there at the artist table,
Right. Right.
and but it was my first experience at a con, naive me. I'm thinking, oh yeah, there'll be some time I can kind of do a demonstration of painting the cutie marks. No, forget it. Not gonna happen.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
so
yeah, I enjoy it when they show the I, I don't know, one of the favorite things for me that I've seen on the live stream so far. I haven't been to the cons yet. But
yeah.
one thing I really like is when they do a walkthrough of the artist alley before
Oh
and
yes.
then the last day.
Yeah.
And you see everybody's got dark circles and everything's gone. It's like swarm of locusts just came in and took everything.
Yes. Yeah. It made a huge difference. That last day, we were all just like, how much time is left? But, and then people come in for that last minute rush, and you're
Hmm.
just like, time to get rid of a few more things,
Yep.
and people are hoping that I discount stuff, and I'm just like, do you guys understand how much time I put into these
Yeah.
finished
Really.
ponies? I can't discount them.
Yeah.
I'm packing them up, and they're going to the next con with me.
And
So
some people go for discounts, and that's fine. I think if somebody wants to discount something,
yeah,
but I don't know. I think discounts are a wonderful thing. If you can offer them, wonderful. If you're looking for them, that's great. But I don't think anybody should ever expect them.
no, they can't be expected. I understand with like prints
Hmm.
or things that you order and have shipped there and that you'd have to ship back.
Right.
Um, because if for an artist you order 100 prints,
Yeah.
like maybe that's too much. I don't know how much they order,
Right. Right.
and but they order a whole bunch of prints.
Yeah.
They've done the one drawing, and then it's really you're checking quality and making sure everything looks good and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some time involved in that. But
Sure.
when you go back for the next con, you order up the next set of prints.
Yeah.
So you don't have to take those back. And
Hmm.
but for the custom ponies, for the amount of time that I have to put into each of them, it took me 3 months to build up the stock of finished ponies that I took to Everfree.
I think I've
And
seen that picture on your DeviantArt, and it looks like there's an army of cute approaching.
that there is, I had just over 100 finished ponies.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that took me 3 months to do, and that was basically all my spare time.
Yeah.
And that was it was overly ambitious of me to bring that many. And some of them, like Vinyl Scratch,
Hmm.
was a great seller.
Oh
Rainbow
yeah.
Dash sold well. Rarity sold well.
Mhm.
I think Twilight was the only one that really sold out. I brought home one, and then Tara Strong came by, and she signed one, like,
Oh.
yeah, and I'm just like, I don't even know what I can do with this now. So I passed it off to the Traveling Pony Museum,
Oh, good
and I
idea.
said, for the museum for now,
Yeah.
and after it travels around for a while, we'll figure out a charity that it can be auctioned for.
There you go. That's a great
So,
idea.
but I can't put a price on that,
Yeah.
and what am I supposed to do? Is you can't put a price on that,
Yeah.
and so I didn't. I completely avoided it. And
Mhm.
that's what a lot of people have to remember. Um, I work full time. This is
Mhm.
a hobby, and
Yep.
I'm doing it for the love of the show. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
basically, the only reason I'm charging the prices I do is because I can't do it for free,
Yeah.
because it's, it
Well,
can't just be out of my generosity.
yeah. And it would be wonderful to be able to have enough time and money to just donate everything, but
Oh yeah,
that's not how it works. I mean, I also work full-time job, and
yeah,
everything that I do is in the time, when I should be asleep or
yes.
between classes, or I granted I don't make custom molds. It's not as involved as you, but anything that I do is in, the free time that I have. I
Oh well,
Yeah.
and everything that anyone in this community is doing,
Hmm.
the time involved. It's
Yeah.
some of us have more social outlets than others. Believe me, sculpting is not a very social activity.
Well, I would like to ask just real fast on it. When the customs that you've done, a custom kit, is that so a person would have their own brushable and they have to, how would they go about using your kit? They have to take it apart, or I'm sorry,
Well,
I'm totally ignorant as to the process.
no,
I don't
that
know.
that's perfectly fine, because a lot of people actually don't understand.
Hmm.
I've had people ask me, "Where's the pony?" And I'm like, "Supply your own brushable."
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And they're like, "Well, what do I do?" And I'm like, "You cut off the hair." And people have gone to the other forums, and they've tried boiling the ponies and pulling them apart, and taking out everything from the insides. And I'm like, "You're thinking about this too hard. This is what the professionals
Uh huh.
that rehair the ponies and
Yeah.
do such." And I will speak uh, wonderful things about what some of the custom pony artists out there have done. If anyone is thumbing their nose up at any previous generation ponies and artists that have worked with previous generations,
Hmm.
don't go look at their work.
Yeah.
Go look at their work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the art that they're creating is beautiful.
Yes.
Um, I'm a hack compared to them.
Ha!
I'm just learning, and when I come across a problem, I go to the forums that they use,
Hmm. Hmm.
and this is how I'm learning.
Okay.
It's I never did anything like this before.
Yeah.
But back to the topic.
Right.
Everyone's trying to pull out the hair from the inside, and they take apart the pony and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, I'm lazy.
Okay.
I think I've got a YouTube tutorial for, OtakuSquirrel's lazy person's way to dehair a pony. And I literally use scissors, cut off the tail, and I push the remainder of it into the pony. And and
Okay.
then I use an X-Acto knife and just cut off the mane as close to their scalp as possible,
Uh-huh.
and try to do as little damage to the surface of the pony as possible. But
Right.
for the greater part, the the kits will cover up most of that area.
Okay.
So as
Okay.
long as you pay attention to what's going to show and what's not,
Right.
you can kind of hack away at anything that doesn't show.
Okay. Okay.
So it really just takes a careful, sharp, you use an X-Acto blade, or a sharp knife,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you just carefully cut off the mane and the tail as close as you can.
Okay.
And so people, they get all confused,
Huh.
but that's the
All right.
first step.
Right.
And if people want to repaint eyes, or repaint cutie marks, or the toys only have cutie marks on one side,
Yeah.
you know,
And I think something great about this show is it seems like the production staff is just as obsessed about detail as we are for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And it
it's
shows. It definitely
yeah,
shows.
yeah.
Oh, but I did notice on your DeviantArt you've started doing more drawings recently.
Yes, yes. Um, I used to draw a lot as a kid.
Okay.
I'm 35 now. I used to draw all the time in grade school and up through high school and
Wow.
a little bit into college, but college is where it kind of petered out.
Okay.
Um, but I look at the art that people are creating, and yeah, I get jealous. I want to create this sort of stuff also. And my biggest roadblock was I had an older drawing tablet,
Hmm.
and my brain wouldn't make the connection to go from, okay, I'm drawing on a tablet,
Hmm.
but I have to watch the computer screen.
Okay. Okay.
And so I always had that big mental block of this isn't working for me.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And so I told myself when I went to Everfree that my profits, I would come home and I would buy myself an air conditioner. Um, it
That.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, it got a little bit cooler after Everfree. We had a
Uh-huh.
couple spells since then, but I broke down and instead of buying an air conditioner, I bought a cintiq drawing tablet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, so as soon as I got the cintiq, I
Hmm.
think the first couple drawings were kind of like I'm tossing them out, and
Hmm.
I'm just having fun with it. But then I decided to say, told myself, you know what? Forget it with these small time drawings. Let's
Hmm.
see what I can do.
Uh,
And I threw out a couple pictures of Nightmare Moon,
hmm. Hmm. I've seen
and
those. Those are impressive. That's good, man.
yeah,
It looks good.
and the interesting part is I really have no idea what I'm doing.
Even better then.
Yeah, so I'm learning to use the drawing program. I'm
Hmm.
learning how to use vectors so I can manipulate the lines and clean them up,
Right. Right.
and airbrush tools and different things. But now that the picture is like in front of my face on the tablet, all of a sudden everything connects. I do want to at some point offer, prints if I go to the conventions
Right.
because I
Yeah.
know inexpensive stuff is going to sell, and
Right.
my
Oh yeah.
custom
Sure.
ponies are expensive.
Yep. Yeah.
And I want people, if they come by and they want to meet me, because that was the craziest thing at Everfree Northwest is having
Hmm.
people come up and saying, "You're wonderful. Your work is wonderful." It's like, okay, this is weird. This person watches me over on DeviantArt. Okay, what's
Being
your
recognized. Ooh.
yeah? And the thing is, I'd ask them. I'd say, "Who are you?" So I can make the connection.
Right. Right.
Some of them I know because I try to interact with people on DeviantArt as
Hmm.
much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I know who people are, and then being able to put that face to the person that's been commenting,
Hmm.
that's really great.
Oh yeah.
And it's like suddenly it's like now I've got a connection with this person besides just being text between a couple
Right.
computers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a wonderful feeling.
That's great.
So that's addictive.
First hit is free. Well, not really, because the cons are not free. But
They're not.
all right. Well, this is a question that I ask in most of my things. Um,
Okay.
in the show, is there one scene or line that speaks to you specifically for your bronydom?
For my
Yeah,
bronydom.
one line or one scene that defines you as a brony.
This is a hard one. I mean, generically, I can say derpy saying I just don't know what went wrong because
Mm-hmm.
that really says it all for this hobby that I've ended up. Yeah, I found myself neck deep, basically going, I just don't know what went wrong. Um, so to a certain degree, but it's also it's derpy, and that means that everyone's going to be clinging to it because derpy is everyone's favorite. Um, there's other moments also. Twilight being obsessive about trying to figure out Pinkie Pie and
Okay,
figure out
yeah.
what's going on here.
Mhm.
That suddenly made this. why is this working? I
Right.
have no idea how, I don't know how I got to this point. Yeah, yeah, I started out like, hey, look, I'm gonna try this, and it's a year later, and I'm just like, wow, what happened?
Yeah.
So there, there, there's a lot of small stuff, and to pinpoint one, it has to be all the ironic stuff
Okay.
and not understanding. Anytime someone's eyes go derpy, yeah, that's me.
A common occurrence, but definitely appreciated.
Oh yeah. Well, and as much as I aim for show accurate with my stuff,
Hmm.
and and I've said it before, I kind of say that I'm a hack. I'm making show accurate. That's to a certain degree, that's about as, I mean, yeah, the sculpting is artistic and everything, but doing
Absolutely.
something show accurate, that's about as unartistic as I could probably be.
Well, okay,
Um,
I'm going to disagree with you just for this specific reason. The show is two-dimensional, but you're creating something in three dimensions.
yeah,
And
yeah.
even though the show is flash-based and does have a certain 3D aspect to it, that's not easy. I mean, if you look at
Oh,
any toy of The Simpsons, it doesn't look right
oh no, yeah. No,
because it's a 2D image transferred to 3D. It just doesn't come right. And
it,
so the ability to make a show accurate thing, you're inducing the third dimension in a way that is not easy.
no, I'm not. Um, uh, I want to belittle myself for just being show accurate, and I also want to take that as a huge compliment
It is.
because,
It's absolutely a huge compliment. I,
uh,
I don't have the kit, and I don't. And honestly, I would probably just order the custom because I'm not that good with scissors or glue or
mhm,
using my hands. But but
yeah,
I've seen the pictures and they look amazing. They look really really good. And uh, all props to people who are able to sculpt these things. But I have seen others that I'm like, oh, that's very cute, but doesn't really look like the show. But it's still cute.
yeah, and one of the biggest problems that a lot of the sculptors out there have is it looks great from a side view,
Okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
then you turn it and you realize it's just basically a two-dimensional piece,
Mhm.
and it's completely flat, and it's like if you look at the pony face on,
Yeah.
it's like they just have a mohawk.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And but what I do is I will go through an episode or several episodes, and
Mhm.
I will pull out screen captures,
Ah.
and then
Okay.
I build up a basically a collection of photos,
Mhm.
piece them all kind of together, and then I'll print out some reference sheets.
Yeah.
And printing them out, it actually makes a huge difference. Being
Oh,
able to
sure.
reference them physically,
Yeah.
so I don't have to be like forcing myself to be in front of the computer
Right.
or have the laptop sitting there in my way or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm taking key angles.
Mhm.
So a head-on side view, I try to
Right.
get from the kind of from behind, or if I can get an overhead view to look
Right.
down on top of their head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really started doing this when I got to sculpting uh, Rarity, and then
Oh, I can imagine her hair is just a pain to get correctly.
her hair, it was so much fun though.
Oh yeah. 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 That's not to say it wouldn't be fun and wouldn't be a challenge, but whoo, I'm sure
Oh
there's
yeah.
times you're like, why can't you have straight hair like
Oh
everybody else?
yeah. Um, and but it's one of those things that I take these references, and then I have to go through and I decide on what compromises I'm going to make.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what people don't realize is, I'm basically aiming for these key shots so that when you're holding them at different angles, that it
Hmm.
works from each of those angles.
Yeah.
And there's a few angles where, yeah, they don't work quite right,
Okay.
but basically I've improved it enough so that 75% of those angles, as opposed to just having like one angle,
Right.
75% of them, you've got something that looks wonderful.
Well, and
And
and to be honest, there are some angles where you can observe a friend of yours where it doesn't look like them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think 75 is an excellent number to shoot for. And
Oh, it's the best I can do. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure that if we had seen the ponies from those strange angles, it would look just like your toys. I'm sure.
Well, and because they're vectors, basically once they
Mm,
get past a certain point, they just do the mirror image of the vector.
yeah.
And so you never see the dark side of the moon, so to speak. you, you know, you never see the other side of the
Mhm.
pony's head unless it's like the shot specifically needs it
Yeah.
for a particular reason.
Right. Right.
And there's a few times where you see Fluttershy with her hair covering over her face,
Hmm.
or Rarity will have her curl hanging over and hiding her face, but they were for
Right.
very specific instances.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but that's what makes it difficult, is because you never really know what should be on that other side.
Right.
And the few times that you do see something, it's usually there for a reason, and that
Mhm.
reason usually means their hair's out of place.
Yep. And I would guess that, yeah, getting hair out of place in your models is just not something possible.
No. Well, I did my sculpt for Pinkamena. That was,
Oh, okay. All right. Pinkamene, I
yeah,
was thinking of, or actually, one of my favorites is when Rarity is playing with Sweetie Belle in the rain.
the wet hair Rarity. Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
That
I,
that
I
one
see that. If I see that scene, I'm like, why do you do your hair up so well? This looks great. Just relax. Okay.
between that scene and Rarity when she's in Canterlot and going to all the events,
Right. The becoming popular song.
yes,
Okay.
between all those hairstyles, there's so much I want to do.
uh,
Oh, and then it all boils back down to time.
oh yeah, yeah. Again, if time weren't an issue, then you could make a series of them that were from one side pony and from the other side changeling.
Oh, that that'd be wonderful. Don't stop giving me ideas.
Sorry, sorry, sorry. You know what would take a huge chunk of time? No, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
Um,
real fast, you said when you went to Everfree, you had over 100. How
yes.
many remain?
I believe I have about 40 right now.
Okay, so well
Yeah.
over half were sold. Whew.
It weren't not all were sold.
Okay, okay.
I gave away a good number
Mm,
to friends and people I admire.
okay, okay.
Some of the storyboard artists,
Right.
some of the voice actors,
Okay,
and
okay.
all of that. It's some of the artists who I appreciate in the artist alley.
Hmm, hmm.
So I did give away, I want to say about 20 of them.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
Still
I've
sold a good chunk of them then.
yeah,
Okay.
I still sold a good chunk.
All right.
And some of them, like the Twilight Sparkle that got signed, they got shuttled off in different directions.
Right.
So I gotta I still have to kind of take an inventory. I was trying to do
Hmm.
some post-con sales for people that didn't have money there,
Right. Right.
and I've lost communication with half of them, or
Oh.
different things come up,
Oh.
and so I really have to kind of finalize what I have.
Hmm, hmm.
But I know that I've got a lot of Cutie Mark Crusaders.
Great. That's good.
I expected with all of them there that the Cutie Mark Crusaders would be more of a popular item, and they just weren't
Uh,
selling.
oh.
No,
Okay.
oh, I love the Cutie Mark Crusaders. I really, I was going to only bring 5 of each, and
Hmm.
then when I found out all the girls were going to be there, I was just like, okay, I got to bring 10 of each, and I think I ended up bringing 8 or 9 of each of them.
Hmm.
And
Well, I think for
but
them, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly why they wouldn't sell as well. But for me, I would have to get all three. I would feel terrible about myself if I like wasn't able to get Sweetie Belle. I'd have like
yeah,
Apple Bloom and Scootle Blue up there. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't have your friend. I'm trying. I,
and
I,
part of the problem was I couldn't take credit cards. I didn't have a
oh
card
yeah,
reader.
okay, yeah, yeah.
And the ATM machines over at Everfree, I think there was one at the 7-Eleven and one at one of the hotels, and they both got like drained out.
Soaked, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
yeah, so anybody going to a con, it's more dangerous to carry cash on you, but perhaps somewhere in your luggage, keep it safe before
yeah,
you arrive, because there's
yeah,
no guarantee that the ATMs will have anything left.
yeah. But for Equestria LA, I got one of those little card readers, and I still have to figure out how to set it up. But I'm going to have a card reader, one of those little square ones,
Okay.
and
One of the old
hopefully.
styly carbon paper ones?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
This
okay, okay.
it's called Square. It's you plug it into your smartphone,
Oh, okay, okay.
and then you can swipe it.
I
And
see.
I think
I see.
I think I have to set it up so it deposits money into my bank account, and I got to
Right.
figure out all that stuff. But with the ponies like that, it's like, what? I can't risk it this time, even though in
Yeah.
Anaheim there's probably going to be more ATMs,
Right, right.
especially right next to Disneyland. Uh,
Yeah, I think if there's a way to get money, they're going to make sure that it's available. But if something, it's better to be prepared.
yeah, and honestly, part of my resistance to the credit card reader was it's going to take a percentage.
Yes, that's true.
And
Yeah.
I just have to keep telling myself they take a percentage if I use PayPal off online. They
Well, that's
take a
also true.
percentage, yeah, they take a percentage wherever they can, they being everyone.
Yeah.
And so I just have to deal with it
Yeah.
as a cost of doing business.
Yeah.
And but I hopefully, I've got a few more weeks where I can figure this thing out and get it set up.
Yeah.
But I physically possess it now, so I
So
will be
there's a
able to take
good
credit
chance that
cards.
EQLA that will have a credit card reader. That's good.
Yeah. I hope to be able to get some kits cast out to take down there.
Hmm.
I don't know how much I'll be able to bring because some of them wore out just for prep from Everfree.
Right, right.
I know that I need 3 molds for different main six characters, so I
Okay.
might not be able to bring half the main six
Right.
unless I get this made up.
Hmm.
And again, I'm just thinking about all the work that this involves.
Yeah.
Uh, I took a lot of vacation time just
Hmm.
to take an extra day off for every weekend and prep
Okay.
for Everfree.
Right,
So
right.
when I have a 3-day weekend as opposed to a 2-day weekend,
Hmm.
that gave me so much more time because that means that not only can I get my chores done
Hmm.
and everything to make my little house run and get all my food restocked and take out the trash,
Right.
do the yard work, um, I can also basically apply that whole day towards stuff.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I don't have it this time. My vacation, I used probably about 5 weeks of vacation
Oh my gosh.
this year so far,
Wow.
and for the con and for prepping for the con.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
that's a lot of vacation. I
Yes, it
had,
is.
yeah, and that's because before ponies, I had no reason to take vacation. You know,
That
but
that could totally be a slogan. Travel agents, get on this. Ponies? Why not vacation?
yeah. So now I'm in that precarious spot where I have to learn how to balance
Hmm.
everything so that I can sustain it,
Yep.
both on for my mental state
Hmm.
and balance it with work because
Right.
I need to. I only get 3 weeks of vacation every year, and
Uh-huh.
honestly, after Equestria LA, that's going to be 6 weeks of vacation that I'll have taken this year.
Yeah, so
So
that's
that's
2 years worth, and you can't keep
yeah,
that pace up for long.
I can't keep that pace up. So we'll do
Well,
what I can.
I'm sure everybody who's had the kits, who knows how to use them, appreciates it, and I'm sure the
Yeah,
people who get it. But yeah, don't burn yourself out. If you quit
yeah,
because you don't have any more energy, then it totally ruins the point.
here.
Well, I mean, if I can suggest, I think this might be nice. If anybody buys your stuff, or if anybody gets the kits, take a picture. Take a picture of it sitting on its new shelf, or meeting the new
Oh,
family, and send it to this guy.
yeah,
I'm sure he'd love to see how his stuff is doing out there in the world.
yeah,
And not just him, other artists too. If you buy something, take a picture of it. Like, this is me with the pony you sent. Thank you so much.
yeah. And I've got a whole gallery on my site.
Hmm.
Anytime anyone sends me a link or posts a picture of one of my kits being completed,
Hmm.
uh, and they have it available on DA, I'll favorite it,
Yeah.
and I've shoved that picture over there into that gallery because I want people to realize that people have done great things with these kits.
Hmm.
And I understand they're a challenge for some that don't have the experience, but
Right.
there are people out there. I've always tried to help people if they've asked me questions on how to do it.
Hmm.
If they ask questions on the sculpting or how
Right.
to do building,
Right.
I
Right.
try to answer what I can. I've always tried to make myself available for that.
Hmm.
And but ultimately, I just it's possible. And what I want to encourage everyone to do is, I've never sculpted before I started this project.
Wow. Okay.
You know, never sculpted.
Wow.
Um, but I didn't kid myself and say I can take a lump of clay and make it look perfect with it
Mhm.
just being a lump of clay.
Right.
I bake the clay when it's a general shape. I carve it down.
Mhm.
I do some finishing work. It doesn't take a little bit of extra. It is a few extra steps to take it and make it look a little bit better.
Right.
But more time you put into it,
Mhm.
better you're going to make it look.
Yep.
People, they need to give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's honestly, give it a shot.
Yep.
Yeah, and they'll be surprised.
People can find you on Twitter at OtakuSquirrel, and your DeviantArt page is the same address, right?
Yep.
Okay. Any other sites that you have that you want to promote?
um, I haven't used my Etsy store because I haven't
Oh, an
tried.
Etsy store. Okay.
I do have an Etsy store. It's
Hmm.
called Proverbial Tail Studios. I've never been able to keep anything in stock long enough to actually put anything up on Etsy. So
Well, if you have enough left over after Equestria LA, might go up there, but we'll
it
see.
it, it, it might go up there.
Yeah.
The funny thing is actually Sibsy found me through my Etsy store
Oh, wow. Okay.
because when I just started
Uh-huh.
and no one knew about me, when I was trying to sell my very first couple kits,
Hmm.
Sibsy found me on Etsy,
Oh, that's great.
and she basically wanted to commission me for a rarity,
Oh, cool.
and that's how that whole thing started. And she got a rarity, and she got a wildfire also.
Hmm.
So I think Sibsy's got the most ponies from me. Well, there's a couple people that ordered the full set, but
Okay.
she's probably got the most as far as uh, individual
Okay.
instances.
Right. Right.
So yeah, she's one of my her getting in touch with me
Mm-hmm.
and reaching out and admiring my work.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably was the biggest highlight of this whole project.
Oh, I'm sure. She's awesome.
And
She's so cool.
oh, yeah, she's always going to have a special place in my heart
Oh.
because she's the first staff member I was in contact with, and it was, I mean, I did the whole fanboy squee and everything.
That's great.
So yeah, Sipsy, I love you. You're wonderful.
Wow.
So
All right.
yeah, everyone at DHX is wonderful.
Mm.
So
All right. Well, this has been Into the Spotlight with OsakaJack. Our guest today has been OtakuSquirrel. Thank you very much, sir.
you're absolutely welcome.
All right. We will catch everybody later. Goodbye.
Bye.